you even say that? Yes, baby.
Can we take a picture?
You want me to take a picture? Are you okay?
Hey guys, welcome back. For my sweet mother-in-law's birthday, we all went out to dinner at this Japanese restaurant where you could cook the raw marinated meats right in front of you in this open fire pit that's built right into the table. It was so cool. We had so much fun with that. And they also had desserts too that you could hold over the fire, like s'mores as well. That was really cool. The kids really enjoyed that part. I'd like to say my favorite part of the meal was the fried rice. It was so good. They tossed a raw egg yolk in this super hot bowl and it would cook as they're stirring it together. That was really cool. It was so good, so much flavor. And they also had these super cute little fry baskets full of their vegetable spring rolls. Those were so good, like one of the best I've ever had. I'm also always really grateful when we do bring the kids and they have a menu that's pretty broad. Even though my kids like fried rice, they were also able to eat some of the other items that were on the menu, like they had chicken nuggets and all kind of things that you could put on the fire.
That's good.
The fry baskets are killing me out. That's the cutest thing I've ever seen.
Boom, look, the egg yolk, it's a raw egg yolk in the middle of the rice that's already cooked and he's tossing it together, like mixing it in there so it can be a cooked egg, like a scrambled egg in there. It was so good. The bowl was hot the entire time we were sitting at the table. Leandre had like 2 bowls. I couldn't even finish my first one. Well, I was also feeding my kids with that same bowl. And that was also nice too. The kids ate free, and I think everybody else, it was like maybe $30 to $60 depending on what package you got, which was only just a different number of meats that you could get, and the unlimited fried rice as well, which was great. My mother-in-law was not feeling the texture of the rice because she has like this thing where if a grain is cooked too long, it's slimy and she's not gonna eat it. So
Levi, you want some?
No.
Oh. Oh. I knew you wouldn't hesitate. Switch.
Lychee, matcha, cake batter.
Well,
The best one. Yeah, it's ice cream, sweetie. Go eat it.
that tastes like seaweed. That tastes like seaweed. Reaction. Watch the reaction.
Oh, it's green.
Green. It's seaweed. Like seaweed.
That's not even bad.
That's worse.
Dang.
Wait, one more time. Happy birthday. Okay, right there. Right there. Happy birthday.
Give him the pitch, Pop.
1, 2.
Happy birthday to you. There you go.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear mommy. Happy birthday,
Tell me why I came home to this. My boys, my husband and my sons drank all of the juice that I just juiced this juice. So this time I'll put some oranges, a 4-pound bag of oranges instead of the Granny Smith apples like last time. But it better last. Well, This is my starter. This is what I keep my starter in, and boy, oh my god, I gotta show you a shot of this hooch, but there is lots of hooch in here, and most people think that they have failed when they see that liquid, but all that is the hooch. All I'm gonna do is scoop that out, but the hooch is apparently like the very alcoholic layer that comes out of your sourdough because it's natural yeast and it's been fermenting in here for weeks. So it's forming basically alcohol. I'm gonna pour that out because it makes it more sour, and I don't like super sour sourdough, but it is good for your gut if you do keep it really sour. And most people just stir in that hooch, and then it just, you know, makes for better sourdough bread. So I'm gonna take this out, let it get to room temp, and then remove the grams that I need to feed it so that it can grow into the loaf that I need. This is from a 103 or 4-year-old starter that I was given back in November. Fed it so much that I had to put it in a big container like this, and it's just been collecting over time. It's been in my refrigerator for maybe like 3 weeks since my last loaf that I made.
This is my starter. Y'all see that gray liquid coming out? That's the hooch. And we're gonna remove that.
Became a commodity, so
Now I'm gonna use one of these quart containers because I feel like with the amount of flour, water, and starter that I put in here, it is gonna allow for the starter to rise the way it needs to without overflowing in my quart container. So we sit this right on our scale. I'm gonna turn it on, make sure it's in grams. And now I'm going to do, I want to say a 1:5 ratio. But we start off with about 35 grams of starter. And it takes nothing. That's why I was totally overdoing it when I fed it the way I did. We're gonna zero it out. All right, now we're gonna pour in 175 grams of water. And then also 175 grams of all-purpose flour. And I like to give this a good mix before I add the flour. It just makes it easier to mix up and it's less messy. Now we're adding 175 grams of all-purpose flour. And I feel like this ratio gets me probably around 300 grams of sourdough starter when it's at its peak. We're gonna give this a good stir. I like to mix this with chopsticks. So we want it to look just like that. Some really thick pancake batter. Yeah, that's what we want. That's exactly what we want. The idea is that we want it to double in size. So we're gonna mark this with like a rubber band or a marker or whatever. And then I'm gonna cover it with a paper towel and like a rubber band. It just needs the moisture from the air and that natural yeast that I was telling y'all about earlier to come in there. Okay, that's what we want. I put a piece of tape right here and marked it with a marker just to indicate where our starter is beginning. Then by the time it is at peak, it will have doubled in size. So I'm gonna put it in my oven. That's where it's the warmest because the AC is cranked up here in Houston. It usually rises all the way by like the next morning. And that's just because, like I said, it's hot in Houston, so we keep our AC turned up and the air really can slow down the fermentation. All right, and we're done juicing just like that. This better last. I do go out of town this upcoming weekend to paint in a wedding, so I'll be gone again, but it's Tuesday right now, so I don't expect for it to last all the way up until I get back on Sunday. But I have cucumber, orange, and pineapple juice. We're gonna put this in the fridge and hope it doesn't get drank up by the end of the day. I'm also making some dinner, making some Cajun chicken and sausage pasta. I'm about to boil some water, watching some Grays, and the cinnamon pretzel bites. My dough has risen, so I'm gonna assemble those in a second. I also thought for dessert tonight we'd have some mini cinnamon pretzel bites. Probably just needs a little salt and that's it for real. Just made a quick dinner. Some chicken, sausage, Cajun pasta. Nothing too crazy. Alright, those are the pretzel bites. I think I'm about to boil them in some water and then put them in the oven because that's what makes it a pretzel.
all the bits and pieces aren't the same size, but I don't think that matters too much. I'm gonna put these in there. I'm just gonna boil in there. I think this is what gives it to this pan. You see how significantly larger they are? It's all right, we've got all of our pretzel bites. I need to spread them out a little better so they can bake evenly without sticking together. I'm gonna pop these in the oven and we'll see what happens. Can you imagine? There's our cinnamon pretzel bite. Tink, tink, tink.
Pretzel.
I need some more. I need some more flight.
Morning. It's 8:30. I just woke up and I came in here to check on the sourdough starter. So I don't know if you can see, but remember this is where we started. It has risen all the way up here, but I was sleeping, but that's okay. That's when it was at its peak and it's starting to fall. The good thing about the 1 to 5 to 5 ratio, it takes a long time to rise, but it also takes a long time to fall as well. I think that's a word. The starter is still active, so as long as your starter is active, that's when you want to use it. So I'm going to go ahead and mix it with some flour and some water. Then I'll start my stretch and folds. But a really good way to see if your starter is still active is to pour your water in your bowl first and then pour your starter over. And if it floats at the top, then you're good to go. People usually use like a little portion. But even if it's not, you know, active the way I want, if it doesn't float, I'm still gonna bake it because I didn't just do all of that for no reason. 450 to 500 grams of water. I'm just gonna use all the starter that I have. I don't really believe in like saving it and making stuff out of discard. We're using all of it. Even if I have to make 2 loaves. And then I'm gonna use about like 800 grams of flour. But I do wanna show y'all the water flow test. So our sourdough starter is definitely still active. You can tell by the bubbles when I turn it around. Floating. So we're gonna give it a good mix with the dough whisk before we add in the flour. And I'm adding in about 800 to 1,000 grams of flour. The more flour and the more water that you add to the starter is going to affect the hydration of the dough, so that's something to think about. Just adding 10 to 20 grams of salt depending on if you're doing 2 loaves or not. I did 2 here. I am stretching the dough out after it has bulk fermented on the counter for 6 hours. I decided to underproof it a little bit so that it wouldn't overproof and the dough would come out really dense. I'd like a more tall dough and a dough that's gonna actually be fluffy when I cut into it. I'm forming the dough balls now and I put them in separate Banneton baskets to cold proof in the fridge overnight. Some people also will go ahead and bake theirs after sitting it on the counter for a couple of hours. But to prevent myself from doing too much, I went ahead and put it in the fridge overnight to cold proof. I am now using my blade to separate the dough. This kind of gives it a design and it also helps it to rise in the oven a little more. Always cover it with a layer of flour so my crumb is softer and lighter in color as opposed to a dark and crispy crumb. I usually bake my bread at 450 degrees for 25 minutes covered and then 35 minutes uncovered. And it's perfect.
And it's been a busy past couple of days. Ever since I've been home from last weekend. Now I'm about to leave tomorrow and go back out of town to Louisville to paint at a wedding. So I'll be recording all of that so y'all can see. It's been a very busy past like few months. It's been so busy. But this is really kind of the last trip that's, you know, back to back. So I can rest a little bit, and my husband's about to have surgery tomorrow also. So when he gets back, I think we're going to have a little break and spend some time together, which will be really nice. I appreciate y'all for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, all the things, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.